Trump-appointed judge orders halt to Justice Department review of seized materials. Trump calls Biden enemy of the state. New all-girl Muslim STEM school opens in Philadelphia. Somali drought-hit families in desperate need of sustenance. School dropout rate increasing in Bangladesh amid rising poverty, income disparity. AI model detects COVID-19 infection in people's voices. From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. On Monday, U.S. District Court Judge Kyleanne ruled that former President Donald Trump faces unquantifiable potential harm by the improper disclosure of sensitive information to the public if the documents seized from his Florida estate on August 8th are reviewed. Those include documents marked confidential and top secret. But political observers say Kyleanne engaged herself in obstruction of justice by ordering the Department of Justice to halt its review of the materials. Kyleanne was appointed by the former Republican president and confirmed after the 2020 election. Political scientist Norman Ornstein said lawyers for Trump handpicked Kyleanne to oversee the case. Kyleanne has violated her oath and is unfit for the bench, he tweeted. In related news, former President Donald Trump was accused of inciting domestic terrorism after a Saturday rally speech in which he called President Joe Biden an enemy of the state. Trump threatened a backlash the likes of which nobody has ever seen in response to the federal investigation into his possession of classified documents. It's Trump's first public appearance since the FBI's August 8th raid on his Florida resort home. Trump was addressing supporters at a Save America rally in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. He was stumping for Republican gubernatorial candidate Doug Mastriano and U.S. Senate hopeful and celebrity doctor Mehmet Oz. Trump called Biden's Thursday evening address to the nation the most vicious, hateful, and divisive speech ever delivered by a president. Biden had said Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. The first group of 30 students started classes Monday at the Khadija bint Khuwailid Islamic STEM Academy for Girls. It is one of the first all-girls private Muslim schools in Philadelphia's Germantown neighborhood. Students will take basic classes with an emphasis on math and science. They will also learn about Islam. Superintendent and founder Yasser Abdurrahman and his wife Marquita Hamak told CBS News that they sought to foster an environment that caters to the Muslim community. They said they left the Philadelphia school district as not many schools adhere to Islamic traditions and disciplines. The school is named after the first wife of Prophet Muhammad. She was an independent and successful businesswoman who was the backbone of the early Islamic era. Imam Shane Atkinson has been awarded a grant from the Islam on the Edges program at the Center for Islam in the Contemporary World at Virginia's Shenandoah University. Atkinson is the Associate Chaplain for Muslim Life at Elon University in North Carolina. The grant will help fund research on the diverse facets of Islam and the Muslim community. Atkinson's project is called Where the Mountains Meet, the devotional arts of sacred harp and Sufi dhikr. It will focus on the overlap between the two musical styles, Appalachian gospel music and the Sufi chants of the Qadiri Sufi order of the Caucasus. Atkinson will explore the unique characteristics and shared traits of these vocal and spiritual worship forms. He will compose a piece using elements of both styles. Atkinson was featured in the 2018 short film Redneck Muslim, which chronicled his conversion as a white Southern Baptist to Islam and his work as a chaplain. For the first time, a Minnesota elementary school is selling hijabs featuring the school mascot alongside T-shirts to promote school spirit. William Byrne Elementary officials sought to ensure that everyone at the school is able to wear something displaying school pride. The hijabs cost $6 a piece and come in 2 sizes and 2 colors. Some even have sparkles on them. Marianne Ali is the school's Somali cultural liaison. She suggested the parent-teacher organization offer Muslim girls a way to participate by sporting hijabs with Buster the Bulldog. Carla Valadez, a parent volunteer and spirit wear coordinator, said every student deserves the opportunity to express their school identity and have that feeling of belonging. Saudi authorities are opening an investigation into an attack at an orphanage for girls and women in the southwestern Asir province last month. In video footage that has now gone viral on social media, Saudi security forces can be seen chasing and attacking women with tasers, belts, and sticks. The girls and women had begun a hunger strike to protest the living conditions at the orphanage, sources said. In one of the videos, a woman can be seen held down by 3 men while another beats her using his belt. Several of the security forces personnel were wearing civilian clothing. Authorities issued a statement saying a probe will be launched into the attack following an order by the province's governor, Prince Turki bin Talal Al Saud. Somali drought-hit families are in desperate need of sustenance. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages.
A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Despite the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, millions around the world will not have access. We need a vaccine that's free and available to everyone, everywhere. It's time for a people's vaccine.
Assalamu alaikum! Open up your eyes.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's your brother Zain Bika from South Africa. One of the first educational programs ever produced for Muslim children was the ever popular Adam's World series. The colorful and comical Muslim puppets stole the heart of a generation. Sound Vision will be releasing brand new episodes of Adam's World with the launch of a Adam's World app. Subscribers will enjoy new Adam's World episodes as they are released, as well as all the classic episodes of Adam's World. So visit adamsworldapp.com now to learn more, subscribe, and enjoy new adventures of Adam and his friends. And let's keep helping tomorrow's Muslims today. Assalamu alaikum.
It's Adam's World. Believe me, there's a lot to see. Bismillah. Let's explore.
To stop this genocide, we need your help.
Somalia is facing a catastrophic drought that has already claimed hundreds of lives. The country in the Horn of Africa is the most affected by climate change. Thousands of people are fleeing rural areas after the drought devastated their farms and livestock. They are flocking to the outskirts of the capital, Mogadishu, some walking hundreds of miles to receive humanitarian assistance. Mogadishu has issued an urgent appeal to the international community for aid in response to about 2 million Somalis threatened by food shortages. World Food Programme Chief David Beasley described the humanitarian situation as extreme. He warned of the worst famine striking Somalia unless necessary funds are provided to save the millions who are starving. A 5.4 magnitude earthquake struck southern Iran on Monday, local media reports. The quake was at a depth of 6.21 miles in the province of Hormozgan. There were no fatalities or damage reported. Earlier in the day, 2 powerful earthquakes measuring 6.8 and 5.3 magnitude on the Richter scale hit southwestern China and northeastern Afghanistan. At least 21 people were killed in the first quake and 6 in the second. Iran is situated in a seismically active zone and has seen many catastrophic earthquakes. Last November, Hormozgan was struck by 2 successive tremors with magnitudes of 6.4 and 6.3, resulting in many casualties. The Israeli army killed a Palestinian youth in the occupied West Bank, the Palestinian Health Ministry reports. 19-year-old Tahir Mohammed Zakarne was fatally shot by Israeli soldiers in Qabatia town, south of Jenin city, the ministry said. Jani Abujuka, director of Ibn Sina Hospital in Jenin, told the Andalu agency another Palestinian being treated at the facility was shot in the leg by Israeli forces. Palestine TV said the Israeli forces have raided several areas across the occupied West Bank, including Jenin. An exchange of fire between the Israeli soldiers and Palestinian resistance fighters took place in Qabatia, the station reports. Israeli forces almost daily carry out raids and incursions into Palestinian areas, often under the pretext of searching for wanted Palestinians. A local court in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh will hear a petition filed by right-wing Hindu groups claiming the Jama Masjid Shamsi in Badaun city was built after raising a Hindu temple. Akhil Bharat Hindu Mahasabha, a Hindu organization, and some local residents last month filed a petition. They claimed the mosque was built after demolishing the temple of Lord Neelkant Mahadev. A hearing is scheduled September 15 in the Badaun court, which has issued notices to the mosque management, Uttar Pradesh Sunni Waqf Board, the state government, and the union government. Jama Masjid lawyer Asrar Ahmad Siddiqui told Andalu agency there is no proof of a temple being raised there for building the mosque. Siddiqui said the mosque was built by Sultan Iltutmish, the ruler of Delhi, in the year 1222. 14-year-old Nira of Sonare, a village in Bangladesh, missed her 8th grade final exam because her family married her off in the middle of the school year. It shattered the teen's dream of becoming a school teacher, forcing her to work at an export processing zone in the country to support her husband. Nira is among 481,000 students who dropped out of school, according to a report by Bangladesh's Directorate of Secondary and Higher Education. It found that at least 10% of the dropouts are girls forced into child marriages and 16% are boys forced into child labor. Government data show 57% of students did not attend online classes and 79% did not participate in television classes during the pandemic. Meanwhile, 62% of rural households lost income and 42% faced job losses. Artificial intelligence can be used to detect the COVID-19 infection in people's voices through a mobile phone app, according to a new study. The research was presented Monday at the European Respiratory Society International Congress in Barcelona, Spain. The AI model used in the research is more accurate than lateral flow or rapid antigen tests and is cheap, quick, and easy to use, researchers claim. That means it can be used in low-income countries where PCR tests are expensive or difficult to distribute. Wafa Al-Jabawi, a researcher at the Institute of Data Science at Maastricht University in the Netherlands, said the AI model was accurate 89% of the time. The accuracy of lateral flow tests vary widely depending on the brand, she added. Lateral flow tests were considerably less accurate at detecting COVID infection in people who showed no symptoms, research shows. Coming up next after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs,
and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
We are Justice for All. Headquartered in the heart of downtown Chicago, Justice for All is a global humanitarian initiative dedicated to raising awareness for human rights concerns impacting vulnerable minority groups. Our diverse team of staff and volunteers, led by Imam Malik Mujahid, work tirelessly to help Justice for All achieve their goals. We promote policies that protect religious freedom, address the root causes of mass displacement, and recognize the plight of refugees and forced migrants. Together, we can continue to stand up for justice. Justice for all.
Welcome back. It's time for our in-depth analysis segment. Let's watch.
Mass shooting continue to happen today in Dallas and as well as Vancouver in Canada. This seems to be a common occurrence in our society. 41 people were killed in 4 mass shootings in just past 2 months with assault weapon. To discuss that with us is Dr. Kyleanne Hunter. Welcome to Muslim Network TV.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Hunter is an assistant professor of military and strategic studies at the United States Air Force Academy. Share with us what is an assault weapon which everyone seems to be after for?
Yes, so I think to have this conversation, we do have to be very clear on definitions. And what are commonly referred to as assault weapons is a category that's hard to define. But there's some things we know about these. So these are all descendants of Armalite's AR-15 variant that was designed in the 1950s and then adopted in the 1960s by the Army as the M16 service weapon. Seeing that this was super popular, Halt, who was the manufacturer, started selling these to civilians with a few slight changes. They took away the fully automatic fire and they took away the 3-round burst. But fundamentally, these are the same weapons that have, they are a center-fired rifle that we have. When Halt's patent ran out, we started to see a ton of different manufacturers selling this exact same thing. Remington, Bushmaster, Daniels, that created these weapons that are functionally the same to the M16, with the exception that they no longer have fully automatic or 3-round burst fire. But other than that, they are the same weapon.
And everyone is selling them in America?
Yeah, they are very easy to get in America. The National Shooting Sports Foundation has dubbed these America's rifle. There are about 20 million of them currently in civilian hands in America. And often there are far fewer restrictions on getting these than on getting handguns. For example, some states have a 21-year-old age minimum to get a handgun, but it's still just 18 to be able to get one of these.
Why people are so kind to this particular rifle?
So there's a lot of sociology behind why people are so inclined to get these. A big part of it is how they've been marketed. These have been marketed as sort of the badass tough guy gun that's out there. In fact, one of the gun manufacturers even had an advertisement that said, consider your man card reinstated if you were to buy one of these. They also appeal to sort of that soldier militaristic side that is there. Additionally, if we look on the other ways, these have also been billed as being just these lightweight, easy to shoot rifles, completely ignoring the destruction that they were designed to
do. So what was the impact of 1994 assault weapon ban, where these type of things were banned?
Yes, so between 1994 and 2004, there was a federal level assault weapons ban. And what we do know during that time is that we saw a pretty large reduction in these types of weapons being used during the commission of a crime. And why that is so important is that when one of these weapons is used, as opposed to any other type of gun that's out there are 14 times more injuries and over twice as many deaths. And so if you can prevent crimes from being committed with these types of guns, you then ostensibly lower your overall injury and death rate.
So are these the disputed findings, or everyone agrees that these are the facts?
It's pretty well agreed that these are the facts. It's been very hard to do real rigorous research on gun violence because of how the government has blocked a lot of access to data. And there was a 22-year period where there was almost zero investment in it. But the numbers, these are just numbers looking from the FBI. These guns were used in far fewer crimes during the ban than since the ban.
You mentioned government has been blocking data. What's the interest for the government here?
Yeah, so, I can't speak necessarily for what the interest of the government is, but I know that there is an amendment referred to as the TART amendment, which prevents the use of trace data by anyone other than law enforcement and certain prosecutors that are there. It ostensibly was designed to protect individual rights, this notion that we don't want to create a gun registry or something like that. But in reality, what it has done is it has prevented evidence-based research from really guiding the conversation. So the conversation keeps coming back to more and more emotion.
Professor Hunter, if the ban on assault weapon demonstrated that it decreases death and injuries and loss of lives in our society, why that ban was lifted?
Yeah, so there was a provision that it would last 10 years and then Congress would have to reinstate it, and they haven't. And I think if you look at some of the driving factors as to why, a large part of it was gun manufacturers like selling this gun. It makes them a lot of money. It's very popular. It's very easy to market. That is out there. So that's one reason that you have. The second is writing bans like this is really, really hard because in the presence of this ban, gun manufacturers found ways to make different copycat weapons that are there. And so there's also some folks who just sort of throw up their hands and say, well, if we can't make it a perfect law, we should just have no laws at all.
Do you think that California, which has come up with that people can file a lawsuit and all that, do you think that is going to help deter gun manufacturers?
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the California provision. I think they're taking a page out of some other laws, looking at other topics here about really giving private citizens the rights to come after here. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what it does. It certainly is a much more comprehensive approach than we've seen taken anywhere else. I think another really interesting development that we've seen recently is that the Sandy Hook cases, that they're able to actually sue the gun manufacturer for the way that they marketed that particular gun. And so we're seeing some real changes in how the legal system is saying that, the gun industry isn't above reproach here. They have a responsibility for who they sell guns to and how they're marketing these tools that were designed to kill.
Now, you're an academics. You have been in the army, and you're with the think tank Rand Corporation, a major think tank in America. Do you think these think tanks and academics really have serious debates about reducing gun violence in America?
So I think academics and think tanks really want to have serious debates about this. But, for 22 years, there was virtually zero federal funding. And to create a real robust body of scholarship, you need public investment. And I think you can contrast this to motor vehicle safety. There was a large body of academic literature that came out of universities, that came out of think tanks, focused on road safety, vehicle safety, driver safety, and all of these things together really allowed us to take a public health approach to save people's lives when they were driving. We haven't had the investment. We haven't had the access to data. And these things combined have made it hard to really build a strong and robust research community. There are people doing incredible work in this at UC Davis, at Johns Hopkins, at Rutgers University, at University of Colorado, at The Ohio State University, who are really building these communities, but it's going to take time because it's only been a few years since there's been meaningful federal investment. But I think it's encouraging that we're seeing a desire to really want to get to the evidence-based background here.
Do you think the current legislation going through the Congress will have some major impact in this area?
I think it's too early to tell exactly what that impact is going to be. But I think what we know and what the data without question show us is that when these guns are present, there is more injury and death. And so reducing access to these guns, we can logically infer, is going to reduce incidences of injury and death. I think it's also important when we're having a real meaningful conversation about this issue to look at it in the totality of the public health approach. We need to look at the role of these guns and weapons. We also do need to look at having a meaningful investment in mental health. We have to look at the supply side. How are guns getting into the hands of these people in the first place? So all of these things taken together, I think we see some positive steps being made. The fact that there is the willingness to say this tool contributes to more injury and death. So let's look at what the policies around it should be. But it's not going to be the panacea that prevents everything at once. We need to continue to research and invest in this.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Hunter, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.